Hey everybody, this is Eric with the Dramatic. Thanks for stopping by for our very first episode of the Backbeat, where we get to talk to some drummers and kind of get the story behind their drumming and even get to know them a little bit more as non-drummers. And so I am so excited today. I have got my very first drum teacher, Paul Stowell. Is it Stowell? I'm sorry, or Stowell. I meant to ask you this.
Stowell.
Stowell. Okay, great. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, and you're in New Hampshire, is that right, Paul?
Yeah, I'm in Somerswood. I'm out near the Portsmouth area by the seacoast in New Hampshire.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful spot.
Yeah, well, right now we're getting buried in snow and
Well,
cold, so
right now it sucks, but like
yeah.
in the fall, it's real pretty.
Fall is nice.
That's awesome. Well, I think I started taking lessons with you, Paul, when I was probably like 13 or 14,
Yeah, yeah.
somewhere in that neighborhood at Darren's Music in
At,
Derry, New Hampshire.
at Darren's and Derry, in that little tiny room up those rickety stairs.
Yep.
One of the things I liked about teaching at that place is they actually sat you down behind a real drum set.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like a practice pad set or anything. So you kind of got a good feel for what it was like to be behind the drums and what they'd sound like. You know, it was cool. I was there about, 30 years, I think.
Wow,
It
that's
was a
awesome.
good time.
Yeah, well, and
And
I
you were a
learned
good
so
student,
much.
man. You were
Oh,
fun.
well, thanks so much. I was just we were talking before we started recording, and I was telling you that I loved coming to lessons. Um, it was so much fun for me, and you were super cool. I mean, and you had the long hair, like at the time, and I was like, this cat is the coolest guy I know. And but one of the things that really has stood out to me when I think back on it over the last 30 some years is that you made it fun. We worked on rudiments, we worked on, stick control and fundamentals, but we also were working in, I want to say it was called realistic rock, um
Yeah, the Carmen Appice book.
yeah, so we were working grooves, but then you said, hey man, if you want to learn anything, like learn a song, bring it in. And I was either Whitehurt's Gotta Be a Believer or some crazy old song. And you helped me break it down and showed me what he was playing. And then the next time I brought a song in, I said, Paul, what is he playing? And you said, you tell me what he's playing. And that just blew my mind and revolutionized everything. But tell me a little bit about how you got started playing drums and then from there into teaching drums.
Well, I'm an old guy, so I came up in the late '60s, early '70s. So I'd turn on the TV and see the Beatles and the Stones and by Who albums, and I wanted to do that. It just kind of hooked me. Um, and we used to go in the family car, and the headrest on the back of the seat. My
Yep,
dad would be driving, the radio would come on, and I was always banging on the headrest, which would annoy the crap out of him everywhere we went.
I bet.
So they got me one of those little toy drum sets with like Mickey Mouse on the bass drum head and set that up in my room. And I beat the living crap out of that thing till it exploded. Um,
I love it.
so I have cerebral palsy. I walk on crutches. It affects both my legs. And I really wanted to play drums. So my dad went to one of the doctors. He says, he wants to play drums. He said, is that something he could do? Should I get him a drum set? He's really into it. And the doctor looked at my dad and said, well, it'd probably be good therapy. It'd be good exercise, but he'll never be able to play. But, it'd probably be good for his legs to be able to try to use the pedals and at least do that. So my dad came home with a little red 4-piece Kent Sparkle drum set. And I was over the moon. I didn't leave that thing alone for 5 minutes. And that's how it all started. He would take me to my first teacher was this guy, Johnny Cagliano, who was a barber. So we'd go to Johnny's and I'd get a haircut and a drum lesson, right? And it started that way. And then when we moved to New Hampshire, my grandmother would come up once a week to take me to drum lessons. And my teacher up there was this guy named Jack. And Jack played traditional grip. So he held the stick like this in his left hand, but he had polio. So this hand was all kind of funky and messed up. And he found a way to jam the stick in and hold it and play. So this like 12-year-old kid comes in with cerebral palsy on crutches, and Jack must have said, you know what, I figured it out. He really wants to do it. I'm going to do whatever I can to get him going. And he's probably the biggest reason that I kept playing, because he taught me how to work around the disability and the weakness in my legs, and just made it a joy. He made it fun. Like you said, you enjoyed coming to lessons. I used to look forward to lessons every week. So I'd go in and do that. And I played and studied all through middle school, junior high school, that kind of stuff. And was getting ready to get out of high school. And I was going to another teacher in Lawrence, Mass. And his name was Dave Vos, and he taught at Berkeley in Boston. So I was doing snare stuff, classical stuff with him, and jazz and drum set and all those kinds of things. And I had to figure out what I wanted to do for college. And I said, I'm going to Berkeley. So I didn't have any plan other than going to Berkeley. I didn't have any backup schools. I didn't apply anywhere else but there. I kind of had it in my head that this is going to happen. And thank God it did. I got accepted and went to Berkeley and got a degree from Berkeley in Boston. So if that doctor's still around and is 110 years old, thanks for the advice.
Suck it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say that. I don't know how many kids you got watching this channel.
I don't know either. Well, we'll keep it. Suck it will be our the maximum level we'll take it to. That's awesome, and super impressive. And I think even during lessons we talked about like how you played your bass drum, like other, you'll hear guys talk about like, heel toe and, raising the leg, but because of the weakness in your legs, it was a lot of the full leg, like lifting the leg. And
yeah. It was basically me lifting my whole leg up off the pedal and kind of just slamming down on it. I worked with those other techniques and I learned them because I wanted to be able to show you guys. I wanted to be able to teach heel up, heel down, heel toe, and all those kinds of things. So I know them and I can play them to a certain extent, but you're not going to see me doing double bass drum stuff at 220 beats a minute with my metal haircut or anything. That's not going to happen.
I just recently probably like almost 2 years ago now, I finally bought a double bass pedal and it looks really nice. It doesn't get a lot of work. And I listen to these other guys that are like, I'm like, holy crap. So I'll do little things just to kind of play, but I've not been bold enough to insert it into the context of a song yet. But
yeah, well, that in my age and the group of guys I play with, there's not a lot of call for double bass in country tunes or in blues tunes or Allman Brothers. Allman Brothers, if they wanted double bass, they hired 2 drummers. So
redefining what double bass meant.
Yeah.
Who was your well, I don't want to narrow it down to just one because that becomes a really hard question. What drummers like influenced you? You were like, yeah, that's how I want to play.
When I was a kid and started out, it was Ian Pace from Deep Purple, and of course Bonham. Everybody loved Bonham, right? Monster, and Keith Moon from The Who. But probably the guy I thought that I played the most like, and I can't remember his name. It was the drummer for the Guess Who. I listened to him and I thought, I could do that. These other guys are phenomenal, and I would have to kill myself and bust my ass, and I might get some kind of approximation of it. But that was one guy who says, I can do what he's doing. And he had kind of a jazz feel to his playing. So he was a big influence to me. And then Buddy Rich,
right?
my parents took me to see Buddy when I was a kid. They said, "You like drums? This guy's supposed to be a good drummer."
Understatement of a lifetime.
So we went to like a Chateau de Ville function hall in Saugus, Mass, to see Buddy Rich play, and I'm like beside myself. I'm watching stuff that I can't believe, and I'm enthralled by seeing this guy play drums. And it's a function room, so they got like this folding walls between the rooms and stuff like that. And there was a wedding going on next door. So in the middle of the show, Buddy goes, "Wait, hold it!" And he stops the whole band, and he looks at the audience and he says, "We're gonna wait for the F and Miles Davis trio playing the wedding music next door to stop, and then we'll get going again." So my parents were beside themselves. They were like, "Who did we take our son to see?" And I was like, that's the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life, is seeing Buddy do that. And years later, he was in Londonderry, New Hampshire, playing at like the high school gym. So I was working and was telling some friends, "Yeah, I'm going to see Buddy Rich." And they were like, "Oh, we'll go. That sounds like fun." And one of the girls looked at me and she says, "What songs does Buddy Rich sing?" And I went, "Just come, you'll like it." So we go to the high school gym in Londonderry, and they oversold it. So by the time we got in and walked in, the gym was packed and there's nowhere to sit. So I walk in with my friends and I'm on my crutches, and Buddy's up on the bandstand and he sees us and he looks over at me and he goes, wait. You're not going to stand through my whole show." And they get a folding chair and put it next to Buddy's throne on stage. And I sat with Buddy Rich right here through the whole show and watched everything he did from behind the drum set. It was like I could have died and gone to heaven right there, and I would have been happy. I'd have been thrilled.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I didn't know that. That is so cool.
So there's a lot of guys where I went, man, I would love to be able to do that. And I did my poor copies of whatever I thought they were trying to do. So it's hard to narrow it down to one, but those were the big guys.
Gotcha. Who do you like today? Who's a contemporary drummer that you're like, that kid's got it?
There's this guy I seen on YouTube, Eric Henning. He's pretty cool. He's got a good groove. I like him a lot.
I'll take it.
I'm old. I listen to the guys I've always listened to and kind of hang with that. And you go back today to, I'm listening to my grandsons are doing a lot of rap.
Okay.
So my youngest grandson is big into production. So he's got like his Christmas present was his big curve monitor, so he could put his software on there and mix stuff. And I go in his bedroom and it looks like a little studio in there. And my oldest grandson has got I don't know, 70,000 followers and interest from people, and so they're both writing music, but it's a whole different thing now. They don't, you know, they're not sitting behind an instrument. I got a room full of instruments behind me, and they're like, no, I'm just going to go on the computer and do software. So it's hard to say.
Yeah,
like
it's music is different. I mean, in terms of creation, even than it was even when I was growing up.
So there isn't really, I haven't really listened to any drummers lately where I went, oh, that guy's blowing me away. Who is this? Because then half the time you don't know too, if it's real drums or if it's programmed. Like my girlfriend is big into country, and it's okay. I like it. I'll listen to it, but it sounds like it's all the same drum machine program to me. When everything's at 120 beats a minute and goes boom, 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 that, boom, 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 that. And you know, my grandsons will work on their rap tune, and they got a groove on the computer that's going boom, 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 that, boom. It's like, change it up, do something.
At least put a bass drum beat in a different location.
Who Who are you listening to? Who are some big guys for you?
Yeah, man. So growing up, as you know, like I grew up listening to a lot of contemporary Christian music. So my list of folks was different growing up. But the one guy that really was just blew me away was Chris Mchugh. He played with Whiteheart. He toured with Michael and Amy, and then now he's Keith Urban's band leader, and probably plays on almost every record in Nashville.
Keith Urban's great, man. He's got a phenomenal band. He's a great guitar player.
Oh yeah, but what got me about Chris wasn't the chops, the flashy chops. It was just the serving the song and the serving the artist. And so he would just like just be laying it down fat. And I was like, that is so good. And like, I was like, I can do that. Might not be able to do all this stuff, but I could do that, you know. And then now one of my favorite drummers to listen to now and see what he comes up with is Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots.
Okay, yeah.
There's something about the way he plays. Let me get repositioned here. Something about the way he plays that contributes to the melody of the song almost, if that makes sense. It's not just the rhythm, it brings everything else that's happening to life. And he's super fun to watch. He's very energetic, but just got some great chops. So
Yeah, this is one of the things I used to miss about teaching, is because a lot of times you guys would leave with whatever you brought in, and I'd go, all right, this is a guy I got to check out, or this is the band I got to listen to. And I would get turned on to a lot of stuff that I normally wouldn't come across, because somebody came in and said, I really want to learn this song. Teach me this. And I go, oh, all right, that drummer's got some shit. Okay,
yeah,
we gotta listen to that.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
it's cool because as we do get older, even for me, like I don't usually go actively seeking out what's new and current. If I stumble across it and go, ooh, that's
Yeah.
usually how I discover new music, unless somebody goes, hey, check these guys out. I'm like, oh. And I make all my discoveries late. I was 15 years late to the Weezer party. I was 10 years late to the Fall Out Boy party. I was 20 years late to the Guns N' Roses party. Like,
Doesn't matter when you get there, as long as you show up.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Also, well, now, Paul, tell me, you as well as being a drummer, you also have some other hobbies. Tell me about that.
Uh, I started back in the 90s with my wife at the time collecting comic books. She worked at a law office downtown and would go walking around up and down Elm Street at lunch. And she'd come home every day for a while and say, I went by this comic book shop and they had X-Men comics. And I really used to love X-Men when I was a kid. So it was right before everything blew up and they killed Superman and everybody thought they were going to get rich because they bought the comic book that he died in. So there started to be comic shops everywhere. And I said, you know what? Spend $3. Stop telling me about it. I don't want to hear you buy one. Spend the $3. I'll give you the $3. And that turned into something we did together. So we ended up like with somewhere around 9,000 comic books by the time that all finished up. And I got boxes and boxes of them downstairs now. And who knew the stuff that I bought back in the 90s and paid $1 for in 2022 is going to be worth $1,000, $5,000. A book I bought for my son just because he liked the cartoon and I threw in the box and forgot all about, I happened to come across a couple of months ago. It was from this show called Gargoyles, which was like a 90s cartoon. And just for grins, I looked it up and it was a $650 book. So it's crazy. I'm actually working with a friend of mine who's got a shop in Dover, and we're going to probably do some online stuff. We're working on setting up a website to do some sales, and he's got a lot of connections for older back issues. So a lot of the big Silver and Bronze Age books and stuff like that are big money. We're going to try selling those and see how that goes.
How many comic books do you have?
I'm getting close to 10,000.
It's amazing. That's
Yeah, yeah. It's I spend an inordinate amount of money. I used to buy drum sets and cymbals and snare drums and things like that, and I've got all those that I can use. So I had to swap over to spending all my money on something else.
and you get a lot more for your money too, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
how I look at it, I guess.
hopefully. I mean, hopefully, when I retire soon, I'll be able to sell some of this stuff and make some good money on it. We'll see.
There you
But if
go.
I don't, I enjoy the books, and I've always been a big reader anyway. So
Nice.
I just like having them.
So,
You got Superman on your bass drum head, right? Or
I do,
I thought I saw.
and I've got a little Superman
Ah,
on my hat. um, yes, my Superman affinity. Here's my little idea notebook, also Superman. It's the original Christopher Reeves Superman in '77.
yeah, 77, 78.
That was the very first movie my dad took me to go see. And so while Superman wasn't my favorite superhero, there was this nostalgia as I got older because of that memory.
The
And so,
association with your dad. That's cool.
yeah, so I would buy him Superman stuff. And then when Loretta and I got married, or even before we got married, so it's almost been 5 years ago, um, she upped it like a notch. Like I thought I was pretty cool, and she is a great gift giver. So dad had so many, Superman hoodies, and he loved it. And so when he passed, now it's become like a bigger thing than what it
Yeah,
even was
yeah, yeah.
before. But Batman's always been my cup of tea. Um, but I'm a sucker for any movie, crappy or not, that has Batman in it, just to see Batman. So so I actually have a Batman tattoo on my leg.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I'd show it to you,
Um,
but I'm almost 50. I might fall over, so I don't want to hurt myself.
yeah, I saw. So there's a new Batman movie, and they had the trailer coming out, and it looks like it's going to be really good. So I'm the same way. If there's a superhero movie, I'm like the first one in line to go see it. And my
Yeah,
girlfriend, God bless her, puts up with it and goes to all of them with me. So it's very cool.
I love it. Yeah, Loretta and I were like, when that Batman movie comes out, that's got to be a date night.
Nice.
I love it. So you've got a YouTube channel too, right, Paul?
Yeah, yeah. I go by Spider Paul S, and it started out with random brain dribblings and stupid stuff I thought of while I was sitting in the car waiting for something to happen. I tell little stories, so there's a couple of those. And then I said, I should maybe do some drum stuff. So I posted a couple little drum things, and then I saw guys like you on YouTube, and I went, "Oh hell, those guys are much better at this than I am. I'll let them do that." And I thought, well, what else could I do? And I started to put some videos up on comic books, because I was going and buying books every week and hunting for old books, old Silver Age stuff, and coming across things. So started doing that and started watching some guys. And last summer we went to Terrificon in Connecticut. It was the first time I've been to a real big convention like that. And we're in the casino at 11 o'clock at night, kind of wandering around and getting ready to walk back to the room. And I hear these guys go, "Hey, Paul." And we turn around, and Marielle, my girlfriend, looks at me and she says, "Who's that?" And I says, "Those are some of the guys that I watch on YouTube."
Oh, that is cool.
So there's a whole community of people in the comic book family community, whatever you want to call it, that have all become friends because we have this shared interest.
That's
So
cool.
I think I might be up to a massive 20 or 30 followers, but I do it because I have fun with it, and
That's what it's got to
people
be.
that know me, yeah, people that know me seem to enjoy it, and it got us hooked back up. So that in and of itself is worth it.
I was so excited when I found you. I was telling you before that we started recording that I had looked for you before, like on Facebook, and I'm like, I don't know where he lives, or anything. And not everybody has like a picture up that is them. It could be a dog
Yeah.
or a cat or something. So then one of my the drumming community on YouTube is very much like you just described the comic book community too. So one of our friends, Drumman 190, he does this an interview segment with another guy, John, at Drum LCK, and they had Drum Man's first drum teacher there, and I'm like, that is so cool because it was like this way to honor the guy. And I'm like, I've got to find Paul. I just want to catch up with him, but it'd be cool to have him on the channel and just kind of because dude, seriously, I think I told you this in a message, but you didn't just teach the skill of playing drums. You taught a love for it. And mom still jokes now 35 years later that she's like, we had to tell you to stop playing so you could do your homework or so you could come and eat dinner. And I loved it. And you made learning so interesting and fun, that here I am, almost 48 years old and still playing drums in some capacity. So thank you so much for that. What advice would you give to drummers that are getting started today, that are just learning to play?
The biggest thing is to have fun with it. Find something that you like about the drums, or a band that you like, or something that you're interested in musically, and explore that. Just find something that makes you want to sit down and play the drums. When I was at the store, parents would always come in and say, well, little Eric is ready for a drum set. What kind should I get him? And I said, get him the one that when he looks at it, his eyes light up and he can't wait to sit down. Whatever that drum set is, if it's got some certain color or finish, or he's seen it in the video, because that's going to make him want to sit down and play. And if he wants to sit down and play, then he's going to learn and have fun. So the biggest thing is to have fun, and don't worry so much about being like this guy or that guy or somebody that you see on YouTube. Learn from them, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there. If you see something you like, try to figure it out. But you're going to sound like you. So the best thing that you can do is let yourself be what you sound like. That's maybe not phrased well. You can't play like anybody else but you.
Yeah.
So embrace that. And with me, I started like this little kid on crutches with cerebral palsy, where the doctor said, no, this is going to work. I had no shot in hell of sounding like anybody else, any of my heroes, because my situation was completely different.
Right.
And when I went to Berkeley, I would walk through the practice rooms like the first week there and hear these guys that were from New York and LA and just monster players. And I had to make a decision right then. Well, all right, either I go the heck with it and give up, because I'm never going to sound like that, or I try to figure out what I sound like and go with that. And it's worked for me, much like you said. I don't have the killer chops to fly all over the drum set and do all that crazy stuff, but I had a good sense of time, and I could keep a beat. And when I went and did a gig and played with a band, I'd have them. One guy actually looked at me and said, I love you, man. You're like a metronome. It's like I can turn you up and down one click or two clicks, and it stays right where that tempo is all the way through the song. So that's what I focused on. How do I make it groove? How do I make it feel good? Because as drummers, we like to think we get paid for all the stuff that goes right. We don't get paid for that crap. We get paid for being able to go doom, that, doom, that, doom, and make that feel good and stay right there.
Yep.
That's what the rest of the band loves. And all the other stuff is icing on it.
Right.
So work on time, work on making the music feel good, and enjoy it. people ask me when I'm going to quit playing, and my answer for decades has always been when it's not fun anymore. And
Yeah.
so far, it's still fun. So I'm still playing.
Keep doing it. Yep. That's it. It's got to be fun. I mean, and not that you never have to work, through stuff to make stuff, feel smooth and happen. But if you love it, if it's fun, you're willing to put that effort in to take it to the next level.
Yeah, if it's fun and you're excited about it, then it never feels like work. I've always had to work 10 times harder than any other drummer I've known just to get my legs going to do the things that I can do. But it never felt like work. It was always just, wow, I get to sit down behind the drums now. This is cool.
Love it. That is awesome.
Awesome. So that's what I tried to share with you guys. I think, hey, this is fun. We get to do something that's fun that, only a certain segment of the population can do. Yep. And whether you get to be rich and famous or make records or tour or do any of that stuff, you're in a select group of people. You're a drummer, man. Yep. There's only so many of us.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome, dude. Well, Paul, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to hang out with me. I know it's Friday as people are watching this, but thank you so much. It's been a delight. Of course, we'll stay in touch. You guys, make sure you head over to Paul's channel. I'll be sure to link here in the video and down in the description below. Go check out his videos, his comic book stuff, his drum stuff. You'll be glad you did. Paul's a super cool dude. Paul, thank you again. Anything you want to leave us with?
Just thanks for reaching out, man. One of the best things about teaching as long as I did is being contacted by guys like you and old students and seeing, wow, I was actually involved in something that affected this person's life enough so that they're still doing it. Yeah. That's major. That makes all of it worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks again, Paul. You guys, thanks for stopping by. We will see you next time.